Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that brings to me how the thought of you brings to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way.
Still making donuts?
And forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone's
At the present time, I teach a class in marketing, and my opening remark is that I am the oldest of 16 children, so you could say that I grew up in a child development center at a very young age. The advantages are numerous. Not only the closeness between brothers and sisters and learning about how to cooperate and get along, but the bound that ties people together is more prominent in large families than you will find in smaller families. It's everlasting. The saying about blood thicker than water is really true when it comes to large families.
I was never really told, you know, that there were, I just thought there was Greg and Beck, you know, and then little by little, you know, we'd go on a date and there would be 5 little kids in the back of the car, you know. So I'd say, those are my brothers and sisters, you know, they have to go part with the date, you know. So, and then every time we'd go on a date, you know, I would think, well, maybe it would be 1 or 2 of the same ones, but they were 5 different. And I started adding these up, and I said, shit, oh dear. God, there's got to be over a dozen here. And then one night I asked her.
He still doesn't know how many there are.
Yeah. No, I do too. Yeah, I've got it down.
There are no advantages. It's all disadvantages.
Give us one.
The worst one is waiting in line in the bathroom. It's eternal constipation. And you spend the rest of your life after you leave trying to get over that, you know, 19, 20 years of being constipated.
Well, you look good. I mean,
no, well,
I know
now
you're
she's
full of it, but...
you get a place
well,
that has lots of bathrooms.
Well, that's why we were all full of it. Nobody could get in the bathroom.
Disadvantage is there's no privacy, and the advantage is, what is the advantage?
You're never lonely.
That's right. Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of bad moments, but I can think of a lot of good moments. I had a lot of fun.
I wanted to be an only child. I mean, don't I look like an only child? I wanted to be spoiled, rotten, stinking, and it didn't happen. The advantage is I learned how to not be spoiled, rotten, and stinking.
I met them at Joe and Linda's wedding, and I thought he was lying to me. I didn't know there were 16 children, really, and Ingrid said, here are my twins, watch them till the wedding's over. And I'd never seen them before.
Were they just babies?
They were about 5. They were busy, and it was a high math.
One disadvantage, that you don't get the attention that you need, and because of that, for me, you're constantly searching for that attention somewhere, kind of like your daughter, Connie, which I really,
Connie who?
Your daughter, Connie. Oh, yeah. And one of the advantages is you always have clothes to borrow from your sister.
Let's see, it was summer of my junior year in high school, and I came to the bakery with a group of girls,
for a slumber party, and we were staying at the lake. And we walked into the bakery, and one of the girls passed out because she'd been in the sun all day. So Marie said, "Oh, it's okay, I'll get one of my brothers to drive you home." And she went and chose Joe, who was working in the bakery, who came out so angry at us. He practically threw us into the car, took us home, and didn't even let us shut the door, and sped away. And I remember the next day saying to Marie, "That's one brother I don't care for at all." And then I ended up marrying him.
Disadvantage? Probably not enough time to see everybody.
Or in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's been a trip. That's been a trip. But those are things that you learn to get around. Disadvantages, I would say the hard thing is when people get away, trying to get them all together again, you know, in a case like this for the 50th anniversary for Mom and Dad. That's a real chore, and some of you went to great extremes to do this. A lot of us are very appreciative.
So her dad come home from work, and I thought, she told me that he liked scotch, so I said, well, I'll get him a drink. And I go get the ice cubes. The ice cube trays are with frozen tapioca. So we made a great hit, you know.
No, because Dad, I loved it, and Dad told me I would make, you know, for that big a family, you make a big pot, right? Well, it would never thicken up. And I tried this like, you know, 3 or 4 times, and Dad threatened me. He says, if you ever make that again, I'm going to kill you. And I thought, okay, Dad, you know, well, the urge hit me one night, and I said, it's so stupid. I should be able to thicken this stuff up. And it didn't thicken up.
So
and
it was in the ice cube
oh,
trays,
God, I got to thicken this up right now. Okay, so I put it all in ice cubes, and then he makes Dad a drink, and these little jelly things are floating on top of the drink.
Beads
and Dad's
come out in the scotch.
And Dad, all you hear is,
I thought, oh, baby.
And I went, oh,
the next time I came to
God.
visit her, I made sure when I parked the car, I locked the doors, but I kept the engine running just in case something went wrong inside the house with her dad. You know.
Playing Tarzan and missing the ramp and falling on my head and busting it open. I think some of the funniest things, I think, involved all of the family when we were playing baseball in the back of a house on Broad Street. And we knew we weren't supposed to be playing with the tennis ball, and they used to go over the fence. And there was a little old lady, Mrs. Kruger, and we used to flip a coin to see who was going to go over and get the ball, because we knew if we got caught, the old witch was going to fry us. You know, things like that. And at the time we were diving for quarters up in Greenville, and Jim challenged me. He went down first, but he didn't get his air, and he swallowed water. He came up. I jumped in, tried to save him, and he tried to drown me. I got out of the way, and I said, oh, the heck, and Dad reached out with a big pole to help him, and he pulled Dad in. Dad had a brand new $200 suit. Jim finally got over, and there was Dad in the water with $200 suit, and we were all sitting up there laughing, but Dad wasn't too happy about that.
I can remember at Bret Hart, the two of us shared a room that used to be the maids' quarters. Half the room was only about 3 feet high, and the other half was about 6 feet high, and we used to fight over who was going to get the taller of the side of the room. And we would just wrestle till 1 or 2 in the morning. The room would be destroyed. And because we were out over the garage, Mom and Dad could never hear what was going on. We'd just fall asleep, wake up the next morning, the room would be destroyed.
It was Mom and Dad's anniversary, and we said, go out to dinner, we'll clean the bakery. We'll clean the bakery, go out to dinner. So they went out, and we spent like hours cleaning the back of the bakery, and we're having a blast. I mean, just, you know, Mom and Dad are gone. And we had a girl that worked for us, and her name was Delina, and she and Dad just used to butt horns like crazy. And so she goes in the bathroom, and we don't know what the hell she's doing in there. And she comes out, and she's dressed in white and Dad's baking hat, and she's acting like Dad, just like him. And she comes busted out of the bathroom all mad and everything, right? And we all are like, laughing, and she's acting like Dad, and we get into a food fight. And we bake this cake for Mom and Dad. This happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. She comes over and she pounds the cake. Before you know it, we're throwing cake everywhere at each other, laughing and having a great time. Well, Mom and Dad walk in the back door.